Hi, it's Will from stormthecastle.com, and this is a quick tutorial on diorama making and using papier-mâché. And what I have here is Helms Deep from Lord of the Rings, and you can see that I've started making it, and I'll progress along and show you more. But I wanted to show you a few points. If you don't have the materials like plaster, Paris, or hydrocal to make a diorama, you can make a pretty good one just using papier-mâché. And I wanted to show you, here's some of the basics here, is that of course, I drew the design that I wanted to make on this board first, and then I built up most of the major structures with cereal box cardboard. So that's what you do. Use them. Cut out your cardboard, tape it all together, tape it down, and get your major terrain features and your major structure building features. So papier-mâché can be used to come out pretty good, and I'll show you that. A couple of things I wanted to say is, the papier-mâché will go over the building, so you can make buildings, structures, walls, and whatnot out of the cardboard. And you can also use crumpled up newspaper to make the terrain. And you can see how that terrain is going to be very rocky. When the papier-mâché goes over it, it'll be nice and rocky and have a very cliff-like look. So fill everything up with, fill all the inside parts with crumpled newspapers, so it'll maintain its shape while it's wet. Because when you put the papier-mâché in there, it'll be pretty wet. So I'll show you the next stage when I start putting the papier-mâché on this. Okay, I've done a lot of the papier-mâché. You can see here I've got most of it completed. And I wanted to show you, to make the papier-mâché, you mix a cup of flour, a cup and a quarter of water, and a teaspoon of salt. And usually you do even amounts of flour and water, but in this case I wanted to go a little bit thin so I get a little bit more detail out of it and be easier to work with. And you cut up small strips of paper towels, and you soak them in the papier-mâché like this, and then you clean it off, and then you just apply that to your diorama to make your terrain like that. So you go ahead and you cover the whole thing, cover everything up, do at least 2 nice thick coats on that, and then you're ready to go on to the detail work once it dries. Okay, I let the papier-mâché dry overnight, and you can see there's a little bit of the paper towel is coming up there a little bit, and what you can do is you can actually wet that down and get it back into form there, then let it dry again. Apply some water to it, and it should retake back in the original shape. So do a little bit of touch-up work, and if you want to do more papier-mâché work, you can put more layers on it. But I'm going to go ahead and start painting and decorating this diorama so it starts to look like the actual Helms Deep. Okay, I've completed the base painting of the diorama. You can see the important thing here is to cover the whole thing. Make sure you get everything covered in base colors. I've got like gray for the walls, and the mountain came out really good. And what I used there is a wet technique for brushing on paint. I put a little paint and then use a lot of water to spread it around. Comes out really good. So apply base colors to everything, get it all covered, and then you're ready to add some details. And you can do details with pencil, with markers, with just about anything, paint, small pieces of cardboard, anything you want. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing some details, and I'll show you that work. Okay, I just want to show you the progress I've made here. I've added a little bit of details. I put on some little extra pieces of cardboard here and painted them, and I've done some painting. And you can do that. And the point here is that you don't have any bought materials. It's all found materials, little pieces of cardboard you can cut up and glue on there, and use some paints that you can get. And now the final thing is to add some of the terrain features. And if you want to improvise some of those, you can use actual soil or dirt or sand. You can take a kitchen sponge and cut it up real fine, or even file it down so you have kitchen sponge filings, and use them so you don't have to go out and buy terrain. And how you can attach them to this is you take some white glue, some Elmer's glue, and mix it 50-50 with water so it's nice and thin, and then brush it on. Brush it right on, and then you can sprinkle your terrain materials on, or you can stick your little bushes on and stuff like that. And if you want to make trees, I have a tutorial on how to make trees out of wire. So everything's improvised here. You don't have to buy anything. It's papier-mâché diorama, which means there's no plaster Paris or no hydrocal or anything like that. And this is Helms Deep. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on some terrain and finish this up, and I'll show you the finished project. Okay, so there's the finished diorama, and I could do more on it, and you could do a lot more and do a lot more detail work. But I showed you the major gist of how to make a diorama out of paper mache. So, and this is Helms Deep, and so if you make one, have fun and send me pictures. I'd love to put them on my website. Plenty more projects, all kinds of projects on my website at www.stormthecastle.com. Thanks for watching.